One question can shatter an empire. The chandeliers of the Pinnacle restaurant cast golden light across marble floors. Crystal glasses clink. Leather booths hold the city's most powerful people. At table 7 sits Adrian Keller, 50 years old, wearing a $10,000 suit, his gray temples perfectly groomed, his eyes cold as winter steel. Across from him, 3 hedge fund executives laugh at his jokes, desperate for his approval. A waiter approaches, young, Latino, name tag reading Lucas Rivera. He sets down a plate with practiced precision. Adrian doesn't look up. He waves his hand dismissively. "Lucas, you forgot the truffle oil." Adrian's voice cuts through the ambient noise. "Do you know how much this meal costs? More than you make in a month." The table laughs. Lucas stands still, tray under his arm, expression calm. He meets Adrian's eyes. "Sir, I apologize. I'll bring it immediately. But may I ask you something?" Adrian leans back, amused. "The kid wants to ask me something. This should be good. Go ahead, waiter. Enlighten me." Lucas pauses. The room seems to hold its breath. If money measures worth, then why are you so afraid of being alone? Silence. Absolute silence. Adrian's smile freezes. The executives stop mid-laugh. A woman at the next table looks up from her phone. Adrian's jaw tightens. His hand trembles slightly around his wine glass. Lucas nods politely and walks away. The room remains silent. Adrian stares at the empty space where the waiter stood, something cracking deep inside his chest. World of the investor. Everything but meaning. Dawn breaks over Manhattan. Adrian Keller's penthouse occupies the entire 72nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the city like a conquered kingdom. Inside, everything is sharp angles and cold surfaces. Black marble. Steel fixtures. Abstract art worth millions that Adrian never looks at. He stands at the window in a silk robe, phone pressed to his ear. His voice is sharp. "I don't care about the excuses, David. Close the position or you're fired." He ends the call without waiting for a response. Behind him, the apartment is silent. No music. No laughter. No life. His housekeeper, Maria, places breakfast on the dining table. He doesn't acknowledge her. She's been working for him for 8 years. He's never asked her name. On the credenza sits a framed photo, face down. Adrian glances at it, then looks away quickly. His phone buzzes. 37 unread messages. None from anyone who actually knows him. He opens his calendar. Meetings. Acquisitions. Conference calls. Power lunches. A reminder blinks, daughter's birthday. He dismisses it with a swipe. In his home office, surrounded by monitors displaying global markets, Adrian sits alone. The screens glow green and red. Numbers rising and falling. His net worth increases by $17,000 while he drinks his coffee. He feels nothing. Outside, the city wakes up. Millions of people with jobs and problems and families. Adrian looks down at them from his tower and feels only distance. His reflection in the window shows a man who won everything and lost something he can't name. World of the waiter. Richness without money. Lucas Rivera's alarm clock buzzes at 5:30 in the morning. He reaches across the narrow bed in his studio apartment in Queens. The walls are thin. He can hear his neighbor's television. The radiator clanks. He stands, stretches, looks at the small photo on his nightstand. His mother, smiling, taken 3 years ago before the cancer. Next to it, an acceptance letter from Columbia University, dated 6 years back. Philosophy and economics. Full scholarship. Never used. He makes coffee in a pot older than he is. While it brews, he opens his laptop at the tiny kitchen table. Philosophy books stack beside it. Kant, Seneca, Adam Smith. He reads for 30 minutes, taking notes in a worn journal. This is his routine. Learn before the world demands his labor. At 6:30, his little sister Camila emerges from behind the curtain that divides their single room. She's 16, backpack ready for school. Lucas has already made her breakfast. They eat together in comfortable silence. Before she leaves, she hugs him. "You work too hard," she says. He smiles. "Someone has to." After she leaves, Lucas puts on his waiter uniform. White shirt, black pants, polished shoes. He takes 2 trains to Manhattan. On the subway, he reads. A businessman beside him scrolls through stock prices. Lucas reads about Stoic philosophy and the nature of true wealth. He arrives at the Pinnacle at 8. The kitchen is chaos. Chefs yelling. Plates clattering. Lucas ties his apron, exchanges greetings in Spanish with the dishwashers. They're his friends. They see him. At 9, the restaurant opens. Lucas becomes invisible again. Just another server in a city of servers. But behind his eyes, a mind turns, questions everything, understands more than anyone suspects. First confrontation. When the powerless speak truth. It's Thursday evening. The Pinnacle is packed with Wall Street elite celebrating another quarterly win. Adrian Keller sits at his usual table with 6 associates. They're loud, confident, drunk on wine and success. Lucas approaches with menus. Adrian doesn't let him finish speaking. "We'll take the tasting menu. All of us. And make sure the wine pairings are actually paired this time. Last week was embarrassing." Lucas nods. "Of course, sir. I'll make sure everything is perfect." Adrian smirks. "You'll make sure. That's cute. Do you even know what half these wines are?" Lucas pauses. He could walk away. He should. But something in Adrian's tone, the casual cruelty, touches a nerve. "I do, actually. The Chassagne-Montrachet you're drinking pairs beautifully with the halibut because the minerality complements the beurre blanc without overwhelming the delicate fish. The room temperature is also optimal at 55 degrees, which is why we decanted it 15 minutes before service." Adrian's associates exchange glances. Adrian leans forward. Well. The waiter has opinions. "Tell me, did you learn that in waiter school?" Lucas meets his gaze. "I learned it from reading. Something everyone has access to, regardless of income." One of the associates laughs nervously. Adrian's face darkens. "Reading. How noble. And what exactly does reading get you?" "A minimum wage job carrying my food?" Lucas remains calm. "It gets me perspective. The ability to recognize when someone mistakes wealth for wisdom." The table goes quiet. Adrian's hand tightens around his fork. "You want to be careful, kid. People who talk back don't last long in this industry." Lucas nods slowly. "You're right. But people who never listen don't last long as human beings." He walks away. Adrian sits frozen, rage and something else, something like recognition, warring in his chest. Public humiliation. When pride demands blood. Friday night. The Pinnacle hosts an exclusive event for Manhattan's financial elite. Adrian Keller is the guest of honor, having just closed a $3 billion deal. He's being interviewed by a financial journalist at his table while others watch. Lucas is assigned to his section again. Bad luck. Adrian sees him and something cruel lights up in his eyes. As Lucas sets down appetizers, Adrian interrupts his own interview. "Excuse me one moment." I want to introduce everyone to our waiter here. What was your name again? Lucas. Lucas Rivera. Adrian gestures broadly. Lucas here is quite the intellectual. Last week he lectured me on wine. This week, maybe he'll explain hedge fund strategies. The table laughs. The journalist looks uncomfortable. Adrian continues, emboldened. Tell me, Lucas. You read books, right? So surely you understand market dynamics. Arbitrage? Derivatives? Lucas sets down the last plate carefully. I understand enough to know that derivatives caused the 2008 collapse because brilliant people confused complexity with wisdom. And that millions lost their homes while the architects of that crisis received bonuses. The laughter stops. Adrian's smile becomes dangerous. Careful. You're talking about things you don't understand. Lucas looks directly at him. Am I? Or am I talking about things you don't want to acknowledge? Adrian stands abruptly. His chair scrapes. You know what your problem is? You're bitter. Jealous. You serve food for a living and you resent people like me who actually create value. Lucas remains utterly calm. I don't resent you, sir. I pity you. Adrian's face flushes red. The entire room watches. You pity me? I'm worth more than you'll earn in 10 lifetimes. Lucas nods slowly. Yes. And yet you're still empty. You can see it in your eyes. The way you need this attention, this validation. You're starving in a room full of food. Adrian's hand trembles. He wants to strike. To destroy. But dozens of eyes watch. His reputation hangs by a thread. Get out, he whispers. You're fired. Lucas removes his apron. Before he leaves, he turns back. I hope one day you find what you're actually looking for. He walks out. Adrian stands alone at his table of admirers, feeling more isolated than ever before. The question that shatters the room. Truth spoken in silence. This scene already occurred in scene 1, but its impact reverberates. Let me show you what happens in Adrian's mind during those seconds after Lucas asks his question. If money measures worth, then why are you so afraid of being alone? Time slows. Adrian's neural pathways fire. His amygdala screams defense. His prefrontal cortex tries to rationalize. But something deeper, something he's buried for decades, cracks open. He sees his daughter's face. Remembers her 5th birthday when he missed it for a merger meeting. Her 12th birthday when he sent a check instead of attending. Her 18th birthday when she stopped inviting him entirely. He sees his ex-wife, crying at the kitchen table, saying you're never here, even when you're here. He sees his father, a factory worker, proud and poor, telling young Adrian that money isn't everything, and young Adrian thinking you're wrong, money is everything, I'll prove it. He sees himself at 30, at 40, at 50. Each version wealthier. Each version lonelier. The question echoes. Why are you so afraid of being alone? Because I already am, Adrian realizes. I've been alone for 20 years. I built walls of wealth to protect myself and ended up in prison. Lucas's words hang in the air like smoke. Adrian can't wave them away. The other diners return to their meals, but the spell is cast. Something in Adrian has been seen. Named. Exposed. He excuses himself, walks to the bathroom, locks the stall, and for the first time in 15 years, Adrian Keller puts his face in his hands and feels the weight of his own emptiness. Reveal of waiter's background. Hidden brilliance. Adrian Keller does something he's never done before. He investigates someone who doesn't matter. Sitting in his office at midnight, unable to sleep, he runs a background check on Lucas Rivera. What he finds stops him cold. Lucas Rivera. Born in the Bronx. Mother, Isabella Rivera, died 3 years ago from pancreatic cancer. Father, unknown. One younger sister, Camila Rivera, age 16. But here's what catches Adrian's attention. Academic records. Bronx Science High School. Valedictorian. Perfect SAT scores. Accepted to Columbia University with full scholarship. Philosophy and economics. Dean's List freshman year. Then, abruptly, withdrawal. No explanation in the official records. Adrian digs deeper. Hospital records for Isabella Rivera show diagnosis date corresponding exactly with Lucas's withdrawal. He dropped out. Adrian stares at the screen. He dropped out to take care of his mother. More digging. Lucas worked 3 jobs during his mother's illness. Waiter. Delivery driver. Night custodian. Medical bills in his name. Collections notices. Payment plans. All paid. Every single one. Adrian finds an academic paper Lucas wrote freshman year titled The Fallacy of Economic Measure, Why GDP Fails to Capture Human Flourishing. Published in an undergraduate journal. Adrian downloads it. Reads it. It's brilliant. Sophisticated argumentation. Deep knowledge of both economic theory and philosophical ethics. This kid, this waiter he humiliated, was on track to become exactly the kind of thinker Adrian dismissed his whole life. And Lucas gave it all up without complaint for someone he loved. Adrian closes his laptop. Sits in darkness. For the first time, he's confronted with a form of wealth he never learned to measure. Sacrifice. Love. Purpose beyond self. He feels something he hasn't felt in decades. Shame. Investor's emotional breakdown. The cost of winning. Adrian doesn't go to work on Monday. This has never happened. His assistant calls frantically. He doesn't answer. He sits in his penthouse, curtains drawn, still in yesterday's clothes. On the coffee table in front of him, that face-down photo frame now stands upright. His daughter. Elena. 23 years old now. He hasn't spoken to her in 2 years. The last conversation ended with her screaming, "I don't need your money, Dad. I need you." And him responding coldly, "Everything I do is for you," and her saying, "No, everything you do is for you. I'm just your excuse." He picks up his phone. Scrolls to her contact. His thumb hovers over the call button. He can't do it. What would he even say? On his laptop, markets are crashing. One of his major positions is collapsing. Normally this would consume him. Today he barely notices. He stands. Walks to his wine collection. Pulls out a bottle worth $8,000. Opens it carelessly. Drinks from the bottle. In the reflection of his floor-to-ceiling windows, he sees himself. A 50-year-old man drinking alone in the dark in a palace of emptiness. Lucas's question circles his mind like a vulture. Why are you so afraid of being alone? Adrian picks up a crystal glass. Hurls it against the wall. It explodes. Then another. And another. He's destroying his own perfection, and it feels like the first honest thing he's done in years. He slides down against the wall, expensive wine dripping from the bottle in his hand. For the first time since his father's funeral 30 years ago, Adrian Keller sobs. Great, shaking sobs that come from his core. He cries for his daughter who grew up without him. For his ex-wife who tried to save him. For his father whose approval he chased into the grave. For himself, the boy who wanted to matter and became everything he despised. When the tears finally stop, Adrian sits in the wreckage of his evening. Broken glass. Spilled wine. Shattered pride. And in the silence, he hears Lucas's voice. I don't resent you. I pity you. He understands now why that hurt so much. Because it was true. The waiter's backstory. The wealth of sacrifice. 2 days later, Adrian does something unthinkable. He goes to Queens. His driver looks confused when given the address. "Sir, are you sure? This neighborhood." Adrian cuts him off. "Just drive." They stop outside a modest building with cracked concrete steps and fading paint. Adrian climbs to the 3rd floor. Knocks on apartment 3C. Lucas opens the door. His expression shifts from surprise to wariness. "Mr. Keller." Lucas doesn't invite him in. Adrian sees past him into the small apartment. Clean but cramped. Books everywhere. A curtain dividing one room. The smell of rice and beans cooking. "I came to apologize," Adrian says. Lucas leans against the doorframe. "You came to a waiter's apartment to apologize? Forgive me if I'm skeptical." Adrian nods. "I ran a background check on you. I know about Colombia. Your mother. Everything." Lucas's jaw tightens. "That's private. Why gives you the right?" "I don't have a right," Adrian admits. "But I needed to understand who I was talking to." "Because you weren't just a waiter, were you?" Lucas is quiet for a moment. Then he steps aside. "Come in." They sit at the small kitchen table. Lucas doesn't offer anything. Just waits. Adrian speaks quietly. "You had a full scholarship. You were brilliant. You gave it all up. Why?" Lucas looks at his hands. "My mother was dying. She had no one else. Camila was 13. Someone had to work. Someone had to be there. It wasn't a choice. It was obvious." Adrian shakes his head. "Most people would have found another way. Loans. Government aid. You sacrificed your entire future." Lucas meets his eyes. "Mr. Keller, you're assuming my future was the degree. But my future was also Camila graduating high school. My mother dying with dignity, in our home, not alone in some facility. My future was becoming someone who keeps his promises. I didn't sacrifice my future. I chose it." Adrian feels something break inside him. "You don't regret it?" "Every day," Lucas says honestly. "I wonder what I could have become. But I also know what I did become. Someone my mother was proud of. Someone my sister can rely on. Someone who knows the difference between price and value." "And you, Mr. Keller? What did you become?" Adrian has no answer. Lucas continues softly. "You came here to understand me. But I think you came here to understand yourself." The room is quiet except for the sound of traffic outside. Adrian realizes this cramped apartment has more warmth than his entire penthouse. More life. More meaning. "I've wasted everything," Adrian whispers. Lucas shakes his head. "No. You've wasted time. There's a difference. Time you still have." Turning point. When the mighty fall. Adrian leaves Lucas's apartment changed. Not transformed. Not redeemed. Just cracked open enough for light to enter. He goes to his office. Calls his head of HR. "I need you to reinstate someone. Lucas Rivera. Former server at the Pinnacle. Full apology. Compensation for wrongful termination." His HR director hesitates. "Sir, we have protocols." "Do it," Adrian says quietly. Then he does something harder. He calls his daughter. The phone rings 4 times. He almost hangs up. Then, Elena's voice. "Hello?" She sounds suspicious. Tired. "Dad?" "Elena." Adrian's voice breaks. I need to talk to you. Silence. Then, Dad, if this is about money again. It's not, he interrupts. It's about me being sorry. It's about me being wrong. For years. For everything. More silence. Adrian pushes forward. I missed your birthday. Again. I've missed most of them. And I told myself it was because I was building something for you. But I was building it for me. To prove something to a man who's been dead for 30 years. You deserved better. You deserved a father. He hears her breathing on the other end. Hears something that might be crying. Elena, I can't undo the past. But I'm asking if you'll give me a chance to do the present differently. The silence stretches so long Adrian thinks she's hung up. Then, Elena speaks. One coffee. That's all I'm offering. One coffee. And if you check your phone even once, I'm gone. Adrian closes his eyes. Thank you. They set a date. When the call ends, Adrian sits at his desk. Outside his window, the city moves. Inside his chest, something moves too. The first stirrings of hope. It's terrifying. The offer. Pride's last stand. Adrian tracks Lucas down at his new job at a different restaurant. He waits until Lucas's shift ends. They stand outside in the cold November air. I want to offer you something, Adrian says. Lucas buttons his coat. I'm listening. Come work for me. Not as a waiter. As an analyst. I'll pay for you to finish your degree. Columbia, anywhere you want. You'll have a salary, benefits, a future. You're brilliant, Lucas. You could do remarkable things. Lucas looks at him for a long moment. Why? Because I feel guilty, Adrian admits. And because you're wasted serving tables when you could be changing systems. Lucas nods slowly. At least you're honest. But no. Adrian blinks. No? You're turning down a full education and a six-figure job. I'm turning down your guilt, Lucas says. You want to save me to save yourself. But I don't need saving, Mr. Keller. I need you to change. Adrian feels anger flash. Change? I'm trying to change. I called my daughter. I apologize to you. What more do you want? Lucas steps closer. I want you to help the dishwashers who work 60 hours a week for poverty wages. I want you to stop firing people to boost quarterly earnings. I want you to use your power to build something that matters, not just something that profits. Change isn't a transaction. It's not you helping me so you feel better. It's you transforming how you see every person you've ever considered beneath you. Adrian's defenses crumble. I don't know how to do that. I know, Lucas says gently. That's why it will be hard. That's why it will be real. He starts to walk away. Then he turns back. When you're ready to change the system, not just save one person from it, call me. We'll talk. Lucas disappears into the subway. Adrian stands alone on the street, humbled again, but this time by an invitation rather than an insult. He realizes Lucas just offered him something far more valuable than he offered Lucas. A purpose. Investors collapse and crisis. The empire crumbles. 3 weeks later, Adrian's world falls apart. A whistleblower from his firm reveals systematic exploitation. Underpaid contractors. Environmental violations. Tax schemes. The media devours it. Adrian Keller, Wall Street titan, exposed as exactly what Lucas accused him of being. His board calls an emergency meeting. Investors pull out. His reputation collapses overnight. Adrian sits in his office watching the news coverage. His face on every screen. The words fraud, corruption, greed scrolling underneath. His phone rings constantly. Lawyers. Prosecutors. Journalists. He answers none of them. Elena texts him. I saw the news. Are you okay? It's the first time she's initiated contact in 2 years. He stares at the message. Types and deletes several responses. Finally writes. No. I'm not okay. But I will be. That night, Adrian can't stay in his penthouse. The walls feel like they're crushing him. He walks the city for hours. Ends up in Queens, outside Lucas's building. He doesn't go up. Just stands on the street looking at the lit windows. Ordinary lives. People with problems and joys he never understood. At 3 a.m, his phone rings. It's Lucas. Mr. Keller, I heard about your company. Are you safe? Adrian almost laughs. Safe. I'm about to lose everything. Good, Lucas says. Then the silence stretches. Adrian speaks. You said when I was ready to change the system, I should call you. I think I'm ready. Not because I'm noble. Because I have nothing left to lose. Lucas is quiet. Then, losing everything is how most people live, Mr. Keller. Welcome to the real world. Can I come up? Adrian asks. It's 3 a.m. I know. I don't want to be alone right now. 5 minutes later, Lucas buzzes him in. Transformation. Rebuilding from rubble. They sit at Lucas's kitchen table until dawn. Adrian tells him everything. The corruption. The shortcuts. The people he stepped on. The rationalizations. Lucas listens without judgment. When Adrian finishes, Lucas makes coffee. You can't undo what you did, Lucas says. But you can do something different going forward. Adrian looks at him. Like what? My company is gone. My reputation is destroyed. Start over, Lucas says. Use what you know about finance to help people who need it. Microloans. Community investment. Ethical funds. You understand the system. Help people navigate it who never had access. Adrian shakes his head. Who would trust me? No one. At first. You'll have to earn it. Like everyone else does. Over the next 6 months, Adrian rebuilds. Not his empire. His character. He settles with his victims. Pays restitution. Pleads guilty to lesser charges, serves probation. He starts a small consulting firm helping nonprofits manage their finances. He works from a modest office in Brooklyn. No assistants. No marble floors. He meets with Elena every Sunday. At first, the conversations are stilted. Painful. But slowly, they find a rhythm. She tells him about her life, her boyfriend, her job as a social worker. He listens. Actually listens. One Sunday she says, "You're different, Dad. I don't know if I trust it yet. But you're different." That's enough for now, he tells her. Lucas and Adrian meet monthly. Sometimes they debate philosophy and economics. Sometimes they just talk. Lucas introduces Adrian to his world, the dishwashers and delivery drivers and home health aides who keep the city running. Adrian begins to see the systems he once exploited through their eyes. It's devastating. And necessary. He starts a fund for workers who want to finish their education. The first recipient, Camila Rivera, Lucas's sister. Full scholarship to NYU. When Adrian hands Lucas the paperwork, Lucas tries to refuse. This feels like charity. It's not charity, Adrian says. It's restitution. I'm repaying a debt to everyone I overlooked. Lucas accepts. At the award ceremony, Adrian sits in the audience watching Camila accept her scholarship. Elena sits beside him. She reaches over and squeezes his hand. He squeezes back. For the first time in decades, Adrian Keller feels something money never bought him. He feels useful. Final meeting. Equals at last. 1 year after their first meeting, Adrian and Lucas sit in a small cafe in Brooklyn. Not the Pinnacle. Not Adrian's penthouse. Neutral ground. They're working on a project together, ethical investment platform that connects wealthy investors with community projects, ensuring fair wages and environmental standards. Adrian handles the finance. Lucas handles the philosophy and ethics. They argue constantly. It works. You're being too idealistic, Adrian says, reviewing Lucas's latest proposal. These margins won't attract investors. You're being too cynical, Lucas counters. If we compromise our values for margins, we're just rebuilding the same broken system. They go back and forth. Eventually find middle ground. This, Adrian thinks, is what collaboration actually feels like. Not dominance. Not submission. Partnership. Elena stops by the cafe. She's meeting Adrian for dinner. She's surprised to see Lucas. You're the famous waiter, she says. Dad talks about you constantly. Lucas smiles. And you're the daughter he should have appreciated sooner. She laughs. I like him. After she leaves, Adrian watches her go with open affection on his face. Lucas notices. You did it, Lucas says. Did what? Got your daughter back. Adrian shakes his head. I didn't get her back. I earned the chance to start over. There's a difference. Lucas nods. You've learned well. They work another hour. Before they leave, Adrian says what he's been meaning to say for months. That night at the Pinnacle. When you asked me why I was afraid to be alone. I didn't have an answer. I do now. Lucas waits. Because I'd spent my whole life building a version of myself I thought would be enough. Impressive enough. Wealthy enough. Powerful enough. And I knew if I was alone, I'd have to face the truth that he wasn't real. That I wasn't enough because I'd never learned to just be. Lucas nods slowly. And now? Now I'm alone a lot, Adrian says. And I'm learning that being enough isn't about what I've built. It's about who I'm becoming. Lucas stands. Extends his hand. Adrian takes it. They shake. Two men from different worlds who crashed into each other and emerged changed. Welcome to the real work, Lucas says. Adrian smiles. It's just beginning. Final message. The measure of a life. Fade in on the Brooklyn Cafe at sunset. Adrian sits alone, reviewing documents for their next project. His phone buzzes. A message from Elena. Love you, Dad. See you Sunday. He smiles. Types back. Love you too. Outside the window, the city moves. Millions of people living lives Adrian once never saw. Now he sees them everywhere. The delivery worker on a bike. The mother holding her child's hand. The old man feeding pigeons. Each one a universe. Voiceover, Adrian speaking, I spent 50 years believing that money was the measure of a life. That wealth proved worth. That power proved purpose. I was wrong. The scene shifts. Lucas with his sister at her college graduation. Adrian in the audience, clapping. The waiter taught me what I'd forgotten. That we're not measured by what we accumulate, but by what we give. Not by who fears us, but by who trusts us. Not by the empires we build, but by the hands we lift. Images flow. Adrian and Elena laughing over coffee. Lucas teaching a class on ethical economics. Workers receiving fair wages from companies Adrian consults. I learned that one honest question can shatter a lifetime of lies. That humiliation can be the first step toward humility. That losing everything can be the beginning of finding what matters. Final image, Adrian and Lucas walking through Brooklyn at dusk, talking, laughing, two friends from different worlds building something new. The camera pulls back. The city lights flicker on like stars. Voiceover continues, we spend our lives afraid of the wrong things. Afraid of poverty when we should fear emptiness. Afraid of failure when we should fear never trying. Afraid of being alone when we should fear never truly connecting. The real question isn't how much you're worth. It's whether you lived with worth. The screen fades to black. Final text appears, money can buy comfort. Only character can buy peace. The end.